What's going on YouTube? Sean here, and welcome to day number 32 of my Godzilla Rewatch. And in today's video, we're going to begin our journey through the Godzilla Anime trilogy. Yay! Okay, so the Godzilla Anime trilogy, I think when I started out in this thing, I was a little bit nice on it, because I kind of expected, like, okay, this is kind of its own unique, interesting take on the Godzilla lore. But I'm expecting it to go places. By the end of the first movie, I was kind of on a high at the very end because I'm like, it's kind of really boring for the most part. But I expected it to, okay, we got everything, all the bullshit out of the way in the first part of this trilogy. I'm sure it's going to pick up the pace and be, this epic grand scale, okay, Godzilla shows up at the very end, which was really awesome. That final sequence of this movie is really great. And we're going to do something crazy there. We're going to go into the next film, what does this mean? What does that mean? Mechagodzilla's going to come into it and he's going to fight Godzilla. I'm let's see where it goes from here. Then it just really dragged, and then we get to the third movie, and then I'm just oh god, no. I mean, I posted a video reaction after I watched the third film, where I just was that sucked. I flat out just thought the third film of this anime trilogy was just complete garbage, and this anime trilogy as a whole, it's probably the worst thing in the Godzilla franchise. I mean, we go, the start of the Millennium series, that was the weakest stretch of live-action Godzilla movies, but this is the worst stretch of Godzilla movies, period. Now, I can tolerate the first part of it. Okay, I'm it's kind of boring. And there's a few Godzilla bits here, but by the time I get to the third one, I'm okay, this is just enough. This is too much. It's so far removed from what Godzilla should be. I just don't like it. I was very excited to see how Godzilla will be done in anime form. I still think it could be done quite well, perhaps a series. This should have just been a TV series, honestly, not really a full-fledged movie. But Godzilla is just not Godzilla. The 98 film is a more faithful rendition of Godzilla, I feel than this thing. We have Godzilla Earth, who looks like Groot. The CGI just looks like crap. I'm sorry, but it's just the 2014 Godzilla. You can call him Grootzilla. That's what I like to call him, Grootzilla or Plantzilla or whatever. But he has no personality. He barely moves at all. He's just a big lumbering thing. He's no longer unique on this planet. The whole planet around Earth has kind of changed, and there's a lot of plot issues I have with it too. So, for instance, it just drags. So, at the end of the 20th century, the movie starts out and it explains humanity's pretty much just driven to extinction. I got Wikipedia up here because I have trouble remembering some of this shit. But Godzilla's basically there. We got these different alien races that come in. They have the X-Thiefs, which are these weird religious cult people we see. And then we have the Billa Saludo, a really weird, confusing name. Oh, can we come to Earth? We'll help you stop Godzilla. Doesn't do jack shit. They try to use Mechagodzilla, who looks bad, and this is the worst design of Mechagodzilla. They decide, okay, we're going to just abandon Earth. We're going to go some other place. We give up. So they're out in space for 20 years. Nothing really is happening. Resources are wearing thin. They can't really find anything. And then there's a conspiracy going on. There's this main character named Haruo Sakaki, who I like to call Haruo Sakaki because he's just not that good he's just annoying in these movies. He just completely just screams and panics the whole time. He just does Haruo just he just gets annoying after a while. The other characters, you have Metphis, who's just this weird religious person who I was confused. I'm I don't know if this X-Thief priest Metphis. You have all these other characters. You have Haruo's kind of love interest. Yuko Tani. You have the what do you call them? The Billisolados. I don't know. I can't remember anyone's names in these movies. But yeah, so they decide after 20 years, okay, let's go head back to Earth. Then they end up 20,000 years or whatever in the future. The whole Earth has changed. It's kind of like that Will Smith movie After Earth, but like that movie, it's not that bad. So, I said, I can tolerate this first one. It's interesting within the first few minutes. I was intrigued to see the future tech and how Godzilla would move anime style, but he's just a big lumbering thing. He has no personality. He barely moves at all. Doesn't fight any monsters at all, which is a real disappointment. He doesn't move. He's just a big lumbering thing. He struggles to move. He just very slowly just lumbering. It's not even Godzilla. He doesn't have his trademark. I mean, he looks like Godzilla, but it doesn't feel like Godzilla. When I watch this thing, no, you're not. I mean, you look like Godzilla. I know by name you're legally Godzilla, but it just doesn't feel like it's him. It feels completely off. Yeah, it's cool to see him huge and just planet-like, but he has no personality. It's just a big lumbering thing. He doesn't feel unique in this world anymore. He's just bigger. Granted, he's got some cool abilities, like he's got this EMP thing, he's got like his atomic breath or whatever, which is kind of neat. Like this, like the whole last 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes of this movie are really, really good. You get some cool creative action sequences with the humans flying around in all these weird little looking vehicles. That was pretty cool. I like that, but it's sort of that CG anime style, which I'm not really a fan of. I like it traditionally drawn, and Godzilla, like I said, just looks like a poorly done PS2 graphic, and it just feels out of place in this movie. I just wish they would have gone like traditionally hand-drawn animation. I don't like the CG anime style. I never did. It's like, I think it's that other show, like Ruby does it. I don't like the design there, and I don't like it here. So they at least fight Godzilla. They abandon Earth, and then mind you, one of my biggest plot holes in this movie is like where I'm like, oh, we'll just get some resource and probably just establish a base on the moon. They mentioned that in the movie, and I'm just like, what? Why didn't you just do that in the first place? You didn't have to leave Earth for that. You could have just taken your resources and just established a base on the moon. You didn't have to leave, and you could have been like coming up with effective strategies for like 20 years. The whole entire population of Earth just leaves to go out into space to some planet that they don't really know is there, that has enough resources to save them. Otherwise, why would the aliens go to Earth in the first place? And then they come back and they're like, oh, well, we could just establish a base on the moon and take resources from there. I'm like, then why the fuck didn't you do that in the first place? Really? Does nobody ever think of this? Like, oh, you could have just went straight to the moon, and just taken resources from there. Godzilla is not the whole entire planet. Like, you can just put a tracker on him and be like, okay, he's all the way over here. Let's avoid Godzilla and just kind of go off over here. Let's get our resources. We'll just have refueling missions, and we'll just stay on the moon. He can't get us from here. There's no fucking way. But, like, this shit. Like, why? Why is this shit even happening? The pacing of this thing is a snooze. It just drags on forever. And then we finally get to, like, the end of the movie where it finally, like, redeems itself a bit. Like I said, when Godzilla shows up at the end, I'm like, holy shit. When you get, like, because, like, they kill, like, an offspring of Godzilla. Because through whatever reason, I was like, well, like, that makes no sense. Like, how the hell is Godzilla, how are they going to continue making, like, this trilogy or whatever if he's dead? Then Godzilla shows up. And it's awesome. Like, granted, I'm not really a big fan of this Godzilla. I think he's, like, one of the least interesting versions. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like a big lumbering monster. It doesn't feel like Godzilla to me. But when he shows up at the very end of the movie and just wrecks shit and, like, annihilates things, you get, like, how powerful this thing is. I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty amazing. And, yeah, the movie ends exciting. The crew just gets... Oh, fucking A. Siri's just talking on my phone for whatever reason. So, yeah, kind of a bit of an exciting climax there. Haruo just, like, he's like, I will vow vengeance. And we kind of set things up for the next film. Then we get this weird post-credit sequence where Haruo wakes up and there's this weird-looking indigenous chick. And we kind of go from there. This one, for instance... Like I said, there's been a bit of backlash around this one and the anime trilogy as a whole. Like, the director's saying, oh, that's just traditionalists who don't like it. And, like, you get these people who just... The music... Like, I remember... Like, I understand that, like, the score is okay overall. It's done by the guy who did, like, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla and Godzilla 2000. But I really feel like... I feel like an alien to the series. Like, I feel like if you don't really know Godzilla, I feel like you have an easier chance at getting into this than saying somebody who is a fan of Godzilla, because I know a lot of fans don't like this anime trilogy, and I'm one of them. Like, each one just progressively gets worse and worse and worse, for me personally. But by the end of this trilogy, I just sat there going, why do we even... I was excited for this thing. I was excited to see this new take on Godzilla, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I wanted to just see Godzilla in animation form. Yeah, you can change some things, you can do some creative ideas. I like the idea of humans coming to Earth like 20,000 years in the future and seeing how the world's changed in Godzilla. But keep Godzilla's personality. Get some of the classic music in there. Just keep some of these unique themes and all that. But no, we just kind of abandoned it. Godzilla is just not that great in this movie. It's just... Oh, man, it's just... I don't like what they did with it. Polygon, Toho, like, how do you approve this, Toho? Like, how did you let them just go and be like, okay, this is what we're going to do? Yeah, it just feels like some weird Elseworlds fan fiction in terms of Godzilla. It doesn't feel like Godzilla to me. And it just kind of continues this trend. Like, by the end of the first film, I'm like, yeah, it's not too bad. But as I go in, like, watching these more and more, you just gradually just lose interest throughout. So, yeah, I know my thoughts are kind of scattershot, but Godzilla Planet of the Monsters... it's the best of the anime trilogy. But like I said, I was expecting, I was hoping that the second part in that would improve. Like, okay, we're gonna get Mechagodzilla, we're gonna get all these cool things, but they just gradually got worse and worse for me. So that's all I gotta say. Come back tomorrow as we talk about Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. And you get to see me just ramble on about that some more. I actually did a video about that, and you just kind of see me just kind of out of it a bit. Like, you know, I will say this, though. The movies are good at covering, like, insomnia. Because, like, when I try and watch them, I instantly want to fall asleep. So, that's good. They're a great movie to fall asleep to. So, even when I tried to rewatch the second one, I had to rewind it again. Because I completely dozed off, like, midway through the movie. And, like, got to the end, I'm like, what? Like, fuck, I gotta go back and watch it again. So, yeah, there's that. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. What do you all think of Godzilla Planet of the Monsters? Let me know in the comment section down below so we can chat about it some more. Hit the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Come back tomorrow as we talk about Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. Then the day after that is where we talk about Godzilla the Planet Eater. And also that day is when I'll be seeing King of the Monsters, so I will be a much happier person. So I think by chatting about this movie and just lowering the bar some more, it's just only going to make King of the Monsters seem all that better. So, yeah. Alright, that's all I got to say. Take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you next time.